What's up, boys? Welcome back. We're doing another video. Today we're talking about Commandramon. This is probably my favorite build. Now, the reason why I'm playing Commandramon and Beelstarmon first in these past few videos is because we don't have starter decks yet. Now, as of me uploading these videos, the starter decks are probably released now. But when I was playing these two locals, we didn't have starter decks yet. And I wanted to play decks that are good without the starters, and Commandramon, sure, you get the new blue Dramon that lets you search for like anything with Dramon in its name from the top 5 of your deck. Pretty good. Overall, I find unnecessary as a card, but you can definitely play it in these lists and maybe play like blue Commandramon lists. But this one is going to be my version of Commandramon. Still going back to this is going back to my original idea for Commandramon, which is like to make it a combination of a rush deck and a control deck, and this one did really well. If you think about it, right, the triangle of good decks right now, right, we have Jessamon, rush decks, aka bond decks, and control decks, aka security control decks, right? Like, and each of these, like, they kind of fill up their own decks. Like Jessamon is like combo swing. Jessamon's like pretty much the only deck that's in this category, but Jessamon is like swing a bunch, usually can beat security control thanks to the likes of Delicate Plan, maybe War Greymon, stuff like that, and swing just a bunch, right, and just take a bunch of security at the same time. Requires a little bit of setup, but can be done pretty easily, right? And then there's security control, which obviously security control, Jessamon beats security control thanks to those cards, right? And security control is like a slow burn deck, constantly be recovering, constantly deleting things that hit the security, things like that. Thanks to all these new security Digimon plus security Digimon in the new starter deck cards, plus the like Zwarts and the new recovery cards, reinforcement, I think, whatever it's called, that can beat Gabubon. Now, Gabubon is a rush deck, so obviously they can't. Being able to rush down a security control list doesn't always work. Most of the time it doesn't work because they will die. Most of your Digimon will die. And then obviously stuff that restands like Gabubon will usually die in the first check. So security control can usually beat these bond/rush decks. But if you can rush down your opponent's Jessamon before they get a chance to evolve up into their whole combo, which usually does happen, that's the triangle, right? So Gabubon beats Jess beats security control beats Gabubon. Now, what do these all have in common? What are the aspects of each deck, right? Jessamon doesn't matter, but we are both a control list and a rush list. So we become two parts of the 3-part triangle that beats one another, right? So now we actually can theoretically beat a good chunk of the format thanks to that aspect of the game, which is what we're trying to capitalize with this deck list. At least that was my idea when building this list in this current format. So we're gonna go ahead and go over everything. It's pretty standard, so it's not gonna take too long, but I just want to talk about everything individually because the list is pretty interesting. And I'll talk about why I'm playing some colors, why I'm not playing other colors, things like that. Pagumon is pretty good. Reveal the top card of your deck, add it to your hand if it's a black Digimon card. So essentially it's a free draw one almost all the time. And then I'm of course playing Sumimon. It's just a better Missimon because you usually have 2 Commandramons on board. So having a 7,000 DP Commandramon is much better than a 6,000 DP Commandramon because now things like Mechanori and other blockers don't crash with you, you just kill them. And also being 7,000 DP in a format where there's a lot of weak Digimon in DP is really strong as well. So Sumimon over Missimon almost all the time. Obviously it doesn't proc as much as Missimon does, but when it does proc, it is so much better. All right, we're gonna talk about Commandramon. Not much to talk about. This one lets you search for the top 3. This one is 5,000 DP, which will be 7,000 with a Sumimon, which I have to decide if I want to play a bunch of Pokemons or a bunch of Sumimons. Obviously drawing is usually better, but 7,000 DP in this format is really strong as well. This one is a blocker, and blockers are really good, obviously. And this one is a Commandramon that is 2 cost, so that's the reason why we play all the Commandramons. Boom, bam, bam. I am not playing any other d-brigade Digimon besides Dark Dramon, obviously, because there's no need. Seals Dramon is unnecessary, especially when you have this blocker already in your deck, and blockers in this format just aren't as good. This blocker alone is good enough to stop some bonds from like completely crushing you, but usually you can rush just as good as bond does, and you have security control options to where you don't need as many blockers. Seals Dramon, it's just unnecessary. It really is just unnecessary. I find like I was playing Sealsdramon before this format, and I didn't like it then, and I definitely don't like it now. So no Sealsdramon. Getting Darkdramon to proc, it happens eventually. You don't need it every game. But yeah, definitely don't like Sealsdramon. As far as the yellow package goes, you're still playing Starmon because it's still like a free deletion. Helps you deal with Mechanorimons as well. And I'm down to 3 Pulsemons, only because I need a space in this deck list for the other good cards. I want to play some yellow stuff because blockers are pretty relevant in this game. So I wanted to keep yellow stuff around so I can still play Spiral Masquerade. But definitely in my experience, I find that I don't need the 12 count of yellow Digimon to make my Spiral Masquerade live. Usually I just eventually find a Pulsemon using things like Izzy. Eventually, because I'm drawing a lot in this deck already naturally because of the Pagumon, because of the Izzy will help me look for stuff. I'm still kind of evolving here and there, so I don't really need to dig super hard for these Pulsemons or these Starmon. All I gotta do is play the game, hold on to the piece, eventually I find it, boom bam, we're good to go. And once again, blockers are pretty relevant in this game still, so being able to use Spiral Masquerade is still pretty good in this game, so there's no other way to delete the blockers. They have a Craniumon down, unless you're using blue stuff to bounce them, which does sometimes come into play, so it is something worth considering whenever the Drummons, I can't remember its name, but the blue guys, whenever the blue guys in the starter deck come out, you can maybe consider, instead of playing Spiral Masquerade, maybe play some Ultimate Blast, some of these other cards that bounce back cards to hands or spin them back into the deck. Spinning is so much better than bouncing, but it is something to keep in mind. Destruction is better than all of that stuff though. 3 Nanimon as our first security Digimon. Having more security options in a rush deck is great. And I am still playing 3 Darkdramon and 2 Magnadramon. I like Magnadramon a lot. Being able to recover in rush matches is so big. It's so big. It wins almost all your rush matchups. Every time you find Magnadramon against a rush deck, you just win. Not to mention, it can spawn some Starmons and Pulsemons from your hand through attacking, which is really nice. But this card will almost always win your rush matchups, always help you win your mirror matchups. And I am playing 4 Zord Defeats as another card that you can check in security. So now we have 8 Digimon in security that can be checked, which is really nice. If you want to play some of that new stuff in the starter deck, like GeoGreymon or the other guy, I can't remember the other guy's names. It's Commandramon, right? It's Commandramon. Yeah, blue Commandramon. That's what it is. Those are more cards. GeoGreymon's probably better in this list because you want... The draws are actually pretty good though, so I don't know. They're both pretty good. Having security options in this deck is pretty nice. Nanimon is just good because you can also evolve, and it's also just a 3 cost to play, so it's essentially as cheap as the rest of your rookies while being a security Digimon as well. As far as the rest of the deck goes, that's it for Digimon. So we're gonna have 4 Izzies, or 3 Izzies, not 4, because Izzy is good, 3 cost, 3 memory at the start of your turn is really good, and of course, being able to look at the top 3 cards of your deck to decide not only your order of draw, but also is really good for your healing. If you play Magnadramon, you can decide what security cards will be in your security by using Izzy into Magna, which is really nice. Only 3 spirals. Once again, the spirals are literally only here to deal with the black decks that play a lot of blockers such as Mechanorimon. So other than that, spiral is generally unnecessary because we have Ultimate Flare, as well as Iron Fist Onslaught as security options as well. So we have 4, 8, 11 good destruction security options. Altogether, we have 11, 14, plus 4, plus another 4. Was it 8 plus 14? That's 22. 22 security options in the deck, right? I don't know if there's anything more than that. I think it's just 22. Yeah, 22 security options in the deck. Almost half of our deck is security options, while the other half are Digimon, right? Because we have 3 Darkdramons, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 plus 3 is 12, plus 12 plus 16 is 28. Yep, so there we go. So almost half our deck is security options, while the other half is like rush stuff. So I'm very happy with this build. It's been doing really well for me. I remember that day I went 2-0 in all of my rounds, and then I played even more games after that and before that. Went 2-0 in all those games too. I literally went undefeated. I actually decked out a black player. How did I deck them out? They played stuff like Mechanori, so I wasn't able to swing for game quickly, but I kept destroying their stuff. They kept using Izzy and Joe to draw more cards, and they just drew so many cards, and I kept destroying their things, and they kept dying in security, that it got to a point where they literally decked themselves out, and I won that way, which is the funniest win I had that day. But yeah, it was really, really good. Really fun games that day. Overall, really happy with this deck. If you guys like the profile, this one's pretty short. Let me know in the comments down below how you like to play Commandramon. If you think I'm wrong about how I play Commandramon, or if you like my list a lot and you want to give me suggestions, maybe, I don't know, whatever you want to do in the comments down below, I would greatly appreciate it. Let me know what decks you want to see me play in the future. I don't know what I'm going to play next. I'm really not sure. I think the starter decks are legal in my locals the next time I play locals, so I have to figure out what I want to do next, if I'm going to jump to security control, because obviously it's one of my favorite lists. I like security control a lot in this upcoming format. I just like Beelzemon a lot, to be honest. Beelstarmon, I mean. But we'll see. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys want to see me play next, and I will see you guys next time.